All right, welcome back, everybody. Today we got some more news. Assassin's Creed, well, in general, Ubisoft gets a helping hand from Tencent as they invest $1.25 billion. That's the Chinese investment here. What's happening is that Ubisoft and Tencent are forming a new company. It'll be a subsidiary of Ubisoft, and Tencent will own, I think it said 25% of that. It was right around here as we accelerate the company's transformation. They will own 25%. And obviously, Ubisoft being its subsidiary, Ubisoft will be controlling the majority of it. But as you can see here, it's going to take over Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six Siege. So some of the most profitable games that Ubisoft has made are now going to be responsible. That subsidiary is going to be responsible for pushing those out. They try to spin it into a good thing, but as you can see right here, by the way, it's going to see roughly 25% with an investment of $1.16 billion or euro, which is 1.25 billion in American. So what's going to happen is Ubisoft, as you guys know, I'm sure, has had a really rough, streak recently with some of the games. As you can see, like Assassin's Creed has actually done fairly well, but it's a drop in the bucket when you consider how much it lost in a lot of investments. Specifically, X Defiant didn't even get off the ground, and I think that was like $200 billion. Sorry, not 200 billion, 200 million. $200 million there. It was lost. The Division 2 didn't do as great. People really liked the first one, but then the second one just failed to take off. They were kind of being cheap with how the game was made, and some of basically you finished the storyline, and there was like a storyline times two, so that wasn't great. Prince of Persia didn't make a big splash. Beyond Good and Evil was pretty good, but the big losses, Star Wars Outlaws, which was did not get a good review. X Defiant didn't even get off the ground, and then Skull and Bones, which was your first quadruple A game, with a pre-order of like a minimum of $100, also, as expected, performed terribly, which caused Ubisoft stock to go down to $2, dropped less than three, $2. It was like, even if you look here, year to date, right? Even a year ago, it was $5, and then the peak of this stock was $20 in 2021. So that's not forever ago. They've been relatively successful pumping out Assassin's Creed. They've had some gems that have come their way, and then consistently underperforming with all their big releases, having delays, and then their CEO also not the best with that quote, which is gamers are used to owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. Remember, you basically get used to not owning your game. That did not go over well. And farther down the line, that might be something that Rockstar might bite them in the butt as well, because they're talking about they're looking at games as basically you don't pay to own them, you'll pay as you use them. That's something that they were talking about, which would be, in my opinion, that would kill the gaming industry. I mean, I'm not buying a game, even if it's for $1, and then every time I use it, I gotta give you 10 cents or something like that. A little microtransaction every time, or based on how long I play it. Anyway, so Ubisoft needing a big help. Assassin's Creed did okay, but it's not going to save an entire company and all those studios. So Tencent is coming in. They are going to take over their biggest games, Assassin's Creed, etc. It's going to be interesting to see this. This is a Chinese company that owns a lot of successful games. This is found a list here from PC Gamer, and this is every company that Tencent has invested in, and a lot of them are very successful. So you're going to see Riot Games, League of Legends. They own 100%. League of Legends. They paid 400 million, by the way, and for a 93% stake. League of Legends is doing great, right? So Tencent's purchase of Riot has nothing short of prescient. League of Legends is the most popular PC game in the world, pulling in an estimated 1.75 billion in revenue as recently as 2020. So that $400 million investment was a huge success, right? Now, Epic Games, 40%, $330 million investment. Basically, Epic Games, Fortnite is really, they have other ones, but Fortnite is exactly right here, as you see at the bottom. Fortnite has made over 20 billion in lifetime revenue. So a lot of successful investing there. And I'm sure when you own 40, even 40% of something, you definitely have some input as to the trajectory of the game. When you invest $330 million on any entity, I would believe you expect to have some say in how it continues going forward. Larian Studios, 30% of Baldur's Gate 3, which was another huge success. That game was, I believe it was Game of the Year, or it was up for Game of the Year. Another amazing game. So, right now, the top games they own have been impeccable. Fortnite, whether you love it or hate it, where you think it's just for kids, which, it can be cartoonish, and the microtransactions are going out of control. You can buy shoes, cars. I've seen some of that stuff, but it's working. And I don't condone it all the time, but the fact is they're making a lot of money. Again, League of Legends, everybody has heard of that. From Software, another huge developer with great games. I think the Dark Souls series has a huge fandom. People love that grinding, die a million times. Well, at least for me, it's a million times. And that hardcore gameplay. They also made one of my favorites, Armored Core. That's one of my personal favorite franchises. That's From Software. So From Software, banger after banger, and then they own only 16% of that, but that's still a decent amount of money in total. All right, so I think they're also trying to push to own more of that, and they own that 16% from a subsidiary. Six Joy owns just over 16% of Dark Souls, and another 14% belong to Sony. So, and then Krafton, which is 13, or basically let's round up to 14%. That's PUBG. So they own both two big battle royales, the beginning of battle royales. And say what you want about PUBG now, they're still going strong, and it was a breakthrough game, right? So, and now Ubisoft, um, 11%. That's gonna be 25 of the subsidiary, and they're gonna have, I believe, the way Ubisoft is going, right? It's trending horrifically, right? As you can see, all red, all down, no good, right? They're gonna take over those games. Yes, Ubisoft will own the company, but they're gonna have a lot of input onto how those games come out. I think Rainbow Six Siege needs to relaunch completely. I know they're kind of trying that. The engine, the graphics, everything is very old, so I'll be interested to see what they're gonna do with Far Cry. Far Cry to me has always been fun and fairly good, but Assassin's Creed was under so much scrutiny, and to see if what kind of spin-offs they might do. And especially with Rainbow Six Siege, it's a title that's lasted over a decade. It is a fan favorite. I do think Rainbow Six Siege is very good, but it's just very old. The graphics, the engine, the hit registration, there's a lot of stuff that can be fixed. So am I a big fan of Tencent owning every good game? No, in a way. But maybe if Apex was owned by Tencent, I would feel better. It'd probably perform better because Fortnite has 40 tick rate refresh on their servers, and Apex is still at 20. It's a complicated matter. Do you want a monopoly? No, but if that monopoly is running well, is you know, pick a side. You wish that every company run their own games well and listen to their customers, listen to their fan base. It doesn't always happen. And then another company that's been making good moves capitalizes. And basically, that's what's happening here. Tencent has been proven to make amazing investments that pay off time over time. And Ubisoft has been on an extreme downslope, losing hundreds of millions, specifically from their a couple of their latest games. Like the Star Wars one was incredibly buggy and had a horrible take, and then Assassin's Creed actually does a little bit better. But in the meantime, you still had X Defiant that doesn't even get off the ground, so you just lose completely on that. Basically, you make nothing back. I want to know what you guys think about that. Are you a fan of Tencent? Now that you guys know what games they own, they're very successful. Are you hopeful for Assassin's Creed and the titles coming forward? Do you think it'll be good if Tencent bought Apex since they run everything else so well? Or do you think a monopoly is bad? I genuinely think monopolies are bad. But if it's ran well, what's your opinion on that? What's the solution? Because now it's going to be finalized, and Tencent is going to have a big input on those three games. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to see some new takes or some different opinions. For me, it's a very conflicting topic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.